that should have been called that wasn't called, or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Devastating loss to Georgia Tech, where they made significant coaching errors, but Miami, with all of these changes, obviously looking to churn over this roster and upgrade the talent level.
Don't sleep on Rick Pitino. Listen, at the end of the day, the portal is the portal, Mike. Don't matter where you came from, it's where you're going and how much money can you get.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for, so I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. Mm-hmm. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people to bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Thursday night throwdown has begun. Countdown to puck drop has begun as well in Vancouver. The Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks tied at 2. It becomes a best of 2 or 3, a pivotal Game 5 this evening in Vancouver. We're moments away from dropping the puck. Let me drop my pucks right now, let you know what we played in this hockey game. We took the Vancouver Canucks to win the game at plus 125. The Canucks played as poorly as they could have possibly played on Tuesday in Game 4. We've seen every Canuck game this year in the regular season and in the postseason. And I'm not going to say that was their worst game of the year, but that was right up there. They had a couple of clunkers along the way, like everybody will over a long season. But one thing the Vancouver Canucks have been very good at is bouncing back after bad performances and bouncing back off of losses. They haven't really faced a lot of adversity in the postseason, at least on the ice. They faced injuries off the ice. They've faced suspensions, but they haven't played an elimination game yet, right? Like, a lot of these teams have been skating on a tightrope on top of the Empire State Building, like the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes, which we'll get to. So the Canucks have had it kind of easy, to be honest, so far, right? They rolled Nashville. They were up 2-1. So this is as sort of, as tense as it's been for them in the postseason. We'll see how they respond. I expect them to respond. Give me the Vancouver Canucks, plus 125. Give me the Vancouver Canucks in the first period of play. They did not play well in the first, 50 minutes of a 60-minute game. All right? They had 8 shots on goal after 2 periods of play the other night. I expect them to be much more aggressive early, like the Vancouver Canucks. And I like the fact that they're underdogs in the first period. So if the game is tied after the first period of play, it's a push. And we're getting the Vancouver Canucks to win the first period at plus 110. So Canucks to win the game, plus 125. Canucks to win the first period, plus 110. This is just sort of a gut feel. I'm going with the under. Right? 3 of the 4 games have gone over. The last one went under. Calvin Pickard will be the goaltender once again for the Edmonton Oilers this evening. He wasn't really truthfully tested very much on Tuesday night. And when the Canucks dialed it up a notch and started to play fast, they scored 2 quick goals. So I think Vancouver will be able to solve Pickard. I don't think Pickard will be terrible. But my gut feel tells me that this is another under. Right? I mean, it's a best of 2 or 3 right now. there's a trip to the semifinals on the line. Like, these teams, they're getting close to the Stanley Cup right now. I know things opened up in Carolina tonight, and there's always the danger that this thing's going to open up and it turns into another 4-3 game. Maybe it does, but I played the under. So we played under 6.5. As far as the goal scorers are concerned, man, we've been in a zone in this series. And, I haven't taken like the same players every game. There's been a few guys that have been on. Brock Besser obviously has been a big part of it. I don't have Brock Besser tonight, even though I should probably put in a Brock Besser play right now, just because the dude scores so much. But I'm sort of, Brock Besser's odds were all the way down to like plus 160. But I do think that it's a Pettersson night tonight. I think Pettersson will score a goal tonight. He scored a goal in the last home game. All right, he's been terrible offensively in the postseason. They shook up their lines, the Vancouver Canucks, and Pettersson's on the first line. I like their style, right? That's like what good coaching is. It's like, all right, our star player is struggling, so let's not like move him down. Let's go all in on him. Like, I love it. They're like, let's go all in. Let's put him with this guy, and let's put him on the first line now and shake things up a little bit. So he's playing with Lindholm. I like this. And I think that Lindholm and or Pettersson are going to score. They're buddies. They're both Swedes. They play on the Swedish team. It's a smart move to put them together, I think. And I think it'll get Pettersson going. So I think Pettersson scores, and that's plus 220, and or Lindholm scores. Lindholm's plus 325. I played them both. I don't have a problem with playing Brock Besser to score either. And I played Seelov's over 26.5 saves. Pickard's save prop is 23.5. The Canucks don't really get a ton of shots on goal. So I was thinking about this. I'm like, it's tough. Like, the Canucks might get like 25 shots on goal and score 3 or 4 times. So I would go under, if anything, with the Pickard save prop. Not to the over, just because I'm telling you, Vancouver are not a high-volume team. So we're getting ready for the national anthem. It's rocking in Vancouver tonight. We were there for the last home game. It was on Friday night, and it's disappointing. Like, the Canucks are the higher seed, and they don't get any weekend games. It's freaking frustrating. Like, all the games, you know what I mean? What, there was a Sunday, was there a Sunday game? Yeah, there was a Sunday game. So, it's frustrating that you don't get that was the Sunday game in Edmonton. There was one Sunday game against Nashville. Like, in 2 playoff series, they haven't gotten any weekend games, and owners like the weekend games. They make more money, right? People are just more, it's a different vibe. So, once again, they're going to play on Saturday in Edmonton once again. So, I'd like to be there tonight, but instead I'm hanging with you. Can't go to every game. I promised myself I would go to 1 game per series, and maybe more if I could, right, depending on how the schedule played out. I knew there was no home weekend game, so I was like, all right, I'll go to the Friday game, and we'll see what happens. If it goes 7, they play on Monday, but I'll be here with you on that, and then hopefully they make it to the next round, and then I'll go to another game against either the Dallas Stars or the Colorado Avalanche. The New York Rangers survived just when you think the Canes. Man, the Canes came back. They were up 3-1. Chris Kreider on the Storm. It was a storm. Rock you like a hurricane. Chris Kreider rocked the Carolina Hurricanes. Dude scored 3 goals in the third period. Epic. One of those, like, legendary, all-time performance type of deals in Ranger playoff history, and the Rangers are off to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup semifinals. Major League Baseball, Los Angeles Dodgers in action tonight against the Reds. We'll get to that, but as far as the NBA game is concerned, the T-Wolves are handling their business right now in a big-time way. They're up by 24, 66-42. We're early in the third quarter of play. There's 9 minutes remaining. The point spread is 17.5 right now. All right, the T-Wolves are laying 17.5 points. The total is 199.5. I've got an over 197.5, and I've got the Denver Nuggets. I think the Nuggets might be in trouble. I think my Denver Nugget bet might be in a little bit of trouble right now. But I'm hoping to hit the over and get the split and move on. We've got a full house on the program tonight. Drew Martin's going to step up and in. It's the Preakness, 149th edition of the Preakness, and the Kentucky Derby was epic. Over $200 million bet on the Kentucky Derby, nearly 17 million viewers. And it was, an all-time photo finish. And it was an all-time breakdown and prediction by Caitlin Free. And anybody who saw her video, a lot of people can give you the winner, but they won't tell you like how it was put together and how it's going to get there. Man, she broke down this race like she had she had Sunday morning's newspaper. All right, so we're lucky enough to get Caitlin Free on the show tonight to get her thoughts on the Preakness, one of the sharpest horse cappers in the game. The Raging Redhead Cam Stewart in the house with us. Mick Aussie was going to join us, but Mick is a late scratch tonight, unfortunately. So maybe Mick can step up tomorrow. Big Card Julio throws it down with us. Brent Beard. We talk some college football with Brent Beard. And we've got Sean Higgs. So we've got a lot of games to break down. PGA Championship, Xander Schauffele catches the first-round leader. Except I don't know if it's a good sign for Xander. For a guy that has problems on Sunday, I don't know if you want to come out of the gate this strong. Is he going to be able to go wire to wire? It's a tough spot to be put in. So they dropped the puck, and there's a lot of action going on already right now. And for all the talk about, this golf course is so tough, these guys made it look like a mini putt. The Thursday Night Throwdown. Bring it.
You look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage, and I have a feeling it's going to be one of these nights tonight. There's an electricity in the air, and we got a lot of guests, so we'll get right down to business. So as I stated, Caitlin Free, she did like an interview before the Kentucky Derby, and she nailed the race. And it was one of the craziest, if not the craziest, Kentucky Derby ever. So somehow, like, she picked the chaos before the race started. It was like it's like being called, like a lot of horse handicappers and like the racing form people ever. They were like, this might have been the best piece of horse handicapping ever. Like, there was like one of those type of deals. And we're lucky enough to get her on the show tonight to talk about the Preakness. So she's going to join us in about half an hour's time. We got Cam Stewart in the house right now. And we got Drew Martin Betts who I'm looking forward to going to the LSU-USC game with. And we got Teddy Covers coming right now. And there'll be others as well. As we stated, Tony Finn, no doubt, will come. I don't know if he'll make it to a seat. But, Tony will probably pledge to come. We got our boy Griffin Murphy in Vegas, Tony George. A lot of people, I think, are going to end up coming to this USC-LSU game. Good to see you, Drew. How you doing?
Always good to be on with you, Gabe. Good to see you as well, Cam. And I cannot wait for that night either. College football kickoff. There's almost nothing like it, my man. And to be able to go to a game where it's a singled out game in Las Vegas, it's just one of those moments where the stars are aligning as sports bettors, as sports fans, because you don't miss anything else as the game's going on that you're at. You can really absorb everything and all the college football atmosphere to kind of get you revved up for the season starting, man. So I'm excited as well.
Yeah, and the fact that we're not fans of the team, so we're not stressed. It's different. It just is. Like, I go to a Michigan game, my legs moving, I'm looking, you know what I mean? Like, especially if it's a big game. Like, I was a wreck at the Rose Bowl. You know what I mean? I was like, it's going to overtime, I'm drinking, I'm shaking and stuff. Oh, my God, season's on the line. This will just be a fun all-out bet. And I'm already looking at the point spread right now because I was thinking, all right, so what am I going to do with this game? LSU are 6.5-point favorites. The total, 66.5. And I'm not betting the under. So that'll be the bet, Drew. I'm going to have a lot of money on the over. Like, it'll be like the Oklahoma-Florida game we went to, Cam. I'm going to be cheering for both teams to score, and they better both score. Otherwise, I'm going to turn on both teams.
Things went sour pretty quick. Like, Gabe, we had everything on the over. Like, we went nuts, too. We were drinking and stuff. I'm like, it's still scoreless. Sam Bradford, goal line mistakes. That game was a train wreck.
Because at first, like, Florida scored, and I started cheering. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And all these Gator fans were like, yeah. And then when Oklahoma scored, I was like, let's go. Yeah. And then people were like, hey, what side are you on? I'm like, I'm on the over side, all right?
Yeah.
It started to go wrong. And then I'm like, Sam Bradford sucks. I'm like, he's falling apart. Interception in the end zone. I'm like, God, these are terrible. And then I had both fan bases turn on me. Like, a cop came up to me and he goes, listen, before you were just upsetting the Sooner fans, but he goes, now you've upset the Gator fans, and these guys are nuts. Right? So he goes, and he goes, you got a problem. I'm not joking. He goes, I think we got to move you out of the section. So that was a wild night. But this Vegas is a little bit tamer than Miami is.
Sure.
Allegiant Stadium a little bit more tamer, but I'm looking forward to that. So as far as this hockey game is concerned right now, we're about 4.5 minutes in, and Vancouver survived an early power play by the Edmonton Oilers, but the Oilers have just scored right now as I speak.
God, I got Vancouver.
4.5 minutes in.
Damn it. Oh, my God. Okay. I was having a really good night, Gabe. Hit Xander Schauffele 30-1 first-round leader. Love it. Never. You know what? I tell you, Gabe, I'm done betting games and stuff now. Like, usually, here's my new drill. Race to 10, race to 20, first quarter, first period, little on the game, bet it all live. That's my whole new strategy. I was going through some documents today, and the numbers prove it. Like, Carolina blew it tonight. I'm done. Anyway, I needed Vancouver to win this period. Now we need a goal badly.
I don't want to single him out, but now it's just getting bad. Ian Cole.
Cole's slow.
Like, there was two opportunities on the same sequence where he could have got the puck out and he didn't, and it led to a goal. Like, specifically, that's a tough spot if you're Vancouver to dig yourself a hole like this. You could tell Edmonton's confidence is starting to grow a little bit. So 1-0. Let me do a quick check of the updated number right now in this game. So the Oilers are now minus 250. The Canucks are plus 200. This is interesting, though, Cam. Even after this goal, the Canucks are only plus 1.5, minus 120. I'm surprised by that. Like, they didn't move it really. Like, they were like minus 200 plus 1.5 before. So the computer and the sports books are not overreacting and believing, this game is done or anything like that. So it's only 1.5 right now. And the total is 6.5 still. So they haven't moved, which is somewhat of a surprise. Drew, any action for you on this hockey game?
On the ice? No, I want to jump in live, though, being on with you guys. But no, I don't have anything.
Take the Canucks plus 210. That's the play.
Okay. It'll take me a second.
In my opinion.
I got to figure this out.
And Gabe, I got to get down on this NHL game, but you brought up the over. What about two new quarterbacks, LSU and USC, in the first game of the season? Therefore, I always feel like that might help the defense a little bit more. I don't know if you have any feeling on that.
I would agree, but I would say they're not really new quarterbacks. The quarterback of USC played in the bowl game. He's been in the program for years.
Okay,
what was
good
the kid?
point.
Was it Moss, right? He threw like 6 touchdown passes in that bowl game. So it's not a new quarterback. It's not like a kid quarterback. It's one of these guys that's been around for years and finally gets to become the starter. And similar situation. Yeah, and knows the system. And similar situation to LSU. Nussmeier's the quarterback. He's been there for years.
Yeah.
He's been there for like 2 years now. So
that's
now
a totally
he steps
different
up.
thing. You're right.
You know what
man.
I mean, Drew? Like, it's not like new. Like, Michigan has a new quarterback, Alex Orji. He's a new quarterback. Like, the kids, he's never thrown a pass. We don't know. We know about these other two guys. They played games. Nussmeier's played games before.
You look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Why must everything be so difficult? 1-0 for the Edmonton Oilers right now over the Vancouver Canucks. But like we said, they really didn't move things around very much. Like I thought they'd go to a 7.5. They didn't. It was 6.5 before they dropped the puck. Got a goal 4.5 minutes in. You figured they'd move it up. They didn't move it. They just left it at 6.5. And Vancouver plus 1.5, minus 120 right now, plus 210 on the money line. Not ideal, but a lot of hockey left. They need to get more aggressive. So as far as the NBA game is concerned, speaking of getting aggressive, the Minnesota Timberwolves came out and just took a sledgehammer to the Nuggets in the first quarter, 31-14, and they really haven't looked back. since. It's 86-59 right now, late in the third quarter of play. It looks like the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be going back to Denver to play 7 games, and the Minnesota Timberwolves plus 1.5 games bet will end up cashing after all in a wild roller coaster of a series. And, of course, you want to talk about roller coasters, the Rangers come back and eliminate the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. And as somebody that took the Carolina Hurricanes tonight, I felt like this young Carolina Hurricane fan did in Raleigh, North Carolina. This kid wasn't taking it too good. Looks like a young Cam Stewart.
Yep. Know that look. Very similar to being at Maple Leaf Gardens. I feel for that kid. What did you say, Gabe? The kid's an NC State fan, too? At least he had a good run in the basketball tournament this year, but, yeah, a lot of pain.
There were a lot of kids at the Carolina game. This poor kid, like, the video
so
is better.
sad.
Like, when you see him, like, going into this, like, he just broke down when the goal happened. Like, it just started right away. And then the camera started looking for other, like, crying fans, and they weren't hard to find. There were a lot of kids at the game. There was, like, a little girl, and the mother was like, let's go. And the kid was just staring at the ice and watching the Rangers celebrate in front of her. And the mother was like, let's go. The kid's got, like, a tear down her eye.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
thinking,
remember the one
these kids are going to be traumatized, like, going to this game.
The worst was the Ranger fan fist bumps the kid in Carolina. He's looking at his dad going, what the hell? Like, you know, like, that's
Exactly.
horrible.
You have a
Remember
bunch
that
of
one?
Ranger
That's the
fans
worst.
throw.
Yeah, they're like fist pumping. Hey, kid, we scored. He's like, Dad, why?
Oh. Wow. Edmonton's pressing right now. They're a nice save, but Vancouver need to wake up quickly. Otherwise, this series is going to slip away from them. Drew, did you play the Denver Nuggets and the T-Wolves game tonight?
Yeah, unfortunately, Gabe, I thought the Nuggets were going to close them out. And I felt like a real sharp NBA playoff bettor, grabbing the 2 in the hook, and it moved my way. And sure enough, I'm just waiting for him to start resting the players. And you know how that is when it's the fourth quarter. 20-plus, 30-plus point game. It's just rest up for the next time. Yeah, the Nuggets are done here, and unfortunately my bet's done. But I did jump on with you, plus 215 in the Canucks to sweat it out for the show.
Let's do it. And the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Reds guys are in action, and the Dodgers were massive favorites tonight, like minus 320 type stuff. The Reds have scored 2 early runs. They're up 2-0. So this is a you did tonight? You took a shot with the Reds?
Yeah, plus 265. Yeah. So I'm feeling real pretty. Got a long way to go. Yeah.
Long way to go.
I'm thinking I got to buy in on the Dodgers right now with minus 120. Just out of fundamentalness. It's minus 120 only.
The first inning.
That's a good bet.
That's the best time to bet the Dodgers. I'm with you, man. Like, Reds scored 2 runs. Ooh. Remember the Marlins? They put up like a 3-spot. Dodgers come back with 4. 7 runs in the first inning, like they did it back-to-back games. So, these guys are always live. Dave, the best bet in sports is right now? Caitlin Clark under. Hit it again, man. 9 points. Thank you. They're going to have to adjust these lines pretty soon, buddy. I'm telling you, man. It's been awesome. 2 nights, 2 fever games, 2 unders.
Yeah, a little bit overpriced. And her team is terrible. It's a big thing too. Like it's a problem. So the other team can just swarm her. Not to mention all the hype that she's gotten. Nobody wants to get lit up by her, and they're going after her. She's going to be good. She'll be fine in the long haul. But I agree, Kim. Keep on betting the unders until they adjust these numbers. So 1-0, 9 minutes in to this game, and Vancouver have 3 shots on goal. So let's get to. We got another break coming up here on the other side. We'll get Drew's thoughts on the Major League Baseball weekend that's coming up here, some of these matchups. And we've got Friday night New York Knicks and Indiana Pacer action going on. The Pacers are laying 6 points right now. The total is 214.5 in a must-win game for the Pacers. Power play again.
You look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for, so I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
$91.63. I'm in a lot of trouble. So I've got the over 197.5. The in-game total is 198.5. Except, like Drew just alluded to, like Denver going to tap out, and it's going to be garbage time. And garbage time is a definition of scrub time. Man, you see these guys; they put up like 12 points in the fourth quarter when you get the benches on the floor. So I could be in some trouble here. 1-0 in the hockey game. Vancouver just killed off another penalty, and they nearly scored. Actually, they just need to break through, get a goal. Like you'll see, once Vancouver sort of gets going, they wake up. But a little flat once again, and we'd like to see a goal in the first period here before we're done. Otherwise, we're going to lose the first period play with the Vancouver Canucks. All right, Drew, we only got a couple of more minutes left with you. So Paul Skeens on the hill here tomorrow once again, and he gets the same team, which is probably not a great thing, is it? If you think about it, like we always talk about first-time pitchers posing a challenge for hitters, especially and this guy, he's got like 102-mile-an-hour pitches and stuff, yet the Cubs just did see him last Saturday. So it's a unique situation where he's facing off against the same team again. Not ideal for him, in my opinion, Drew.
I'm with you. I mean, for him personally, it's not, Gabe. And we see a near pick'em price here. It's Paul Skeens versus Kyle Hendricks going for the Cubbies. Here in Wrigley, it's a solo Friday game, so there's going to be a lot of tickets written on it, Gabe. And you're right. I mean, just May 11th, he went up against the Cubs, 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs. Now, granted, keep in mind, he was taken out of the game. The relievers came in, so his ERA really tripled, and he wasn't even on the mound. He did have a 7-2 strikeout to walk ratio, but they had a 40% hard hit rate against him. I do think it favors the offense. The only catch here is betting it on the side, Gabe, is Kyle Hendricks also faced the Pittsburgh Pirates. So it's kind of the same conundrum we're in as the handicapper. Who does it favor? I think it favors both offenses. Hendricks actually had better numbers against the opposing lineup, 5 innings, 2 hits, just 1 earned, and that was on a solo shot. So actually, I might try to actually fade him here. I think that the Cubbies can put up enough runs, and it looks like they're catching a plus price off the open. So I think the home dog is barking in the solo Friday game.
I played the Pirates in Skeens' debut just because I'm a public mark. I was like, you know what? I'll jump in on it. Maybe he'll pitch a no-hitter or something. He didn't, but they ended up winning the game 10-9. So I just think personally, I think the Cubs are underpriced. I'm with you. I think the Cubs and the total, I don't know what the win situation is, but 7.5 feels light in this game. And I think he's being overpriced right now because of the hype around him. And you're getting a better baseball team on their home field at a pick'em price. So anything else as far as these weekend series has caught your eye, Drew, looking at the baseball card?
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of them, Gabe. I could just run them off real quick. I'm thinking about heading down to the fish tank for the Mets and the Marlins. I want to catch a game, and Luzardo's on the hill. I'm a Fish fan. He's been good his last 2 timeouts. So I put the Marlins in my pocket. Another one, I'm looking to fade McKenzie in the Cleveland Guardians starting pitcher. His velocity's been down. He's up against Woods Richardson, 3 ERA. He's off of his worst start. It's a little bit of a tricky handicap, kind of like the over in the Twins-Guardians game, and lean towards Minnesota. Your LA Dodgers going up against the Cincinnati Reds right now. The Reds off to a hot start, but they got James Paxton on the hill. Talking about the Dodgers here. He's a Canadian, as I know you know, 2.5 ERA, 1 earned run in his last 2 starts. But something I noticed here, Gabe, he's on the wrong side of a 22 to 24 strikeout to walk ratio. I've never really seen that. A guy with a 2.5 ERA at this point in the season and more walks than strikeouts. Something's got to give. He's up against Frankie Montes. Yeah, Frankie Montes has that 1-year, $16 million contract, but 5 earned runs last time out against the Giants. I think he's going to struggle. I actually think there's going to be a bunch of runs put up. So seeing a total of 9, I know it's a pitcher's park, West Coast, but I think the Dodgers are going to put up a bunch. I wouldn't be surprised if the Reds didn't either. I kind of like the over in LA tomorrow night.
Dodgers currently minus 220 favorites in this game. The Rockies have had a nice week. The Rockies are in the Bay Area against the San Francisco Giants tomorrow night. They're plus 145. We've got a Boston-St. Louis old school series. And what's this? Oh, this is the lineup. Check this out. So it's Shohei Ohtani bobblehead night tonight. Dear God, look at this lineup.
Look at it. Just to get in the game? Did they have enough?
God, that's crazy.
They ran out of those things.
That's always been my beef with these bobblehead things.
Yeah.
I hate that they only make like 15 or 20,000 of them.
Agreed.
Like, if you're going to do it, just make like, say, all right, we have 49,000 seats, we're making 49,000 of them, right? Like, hey, we're going to sell out the game and everyone will get a bobblehead. I get it. It creates this market and stuff like this. But, dude, in the last year, the Expos, they had like all kinds of special ones, like Gary Carter and Dawson and Vlad Guerrero. And there'd be these like massive lineups for the bobbleheads before the game starts. And people wouldn't even go to the game, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
People would be leaving. And the thing is, too, the tickets were cheaper in Montreal. So people were smart. They would buy like 10 tickets. Mm-hmm. And they would go in, they'd come back out, they'd go back in, and they'd walk out, and then they'd sell the bobbleheads outside the stadium. And it'll be the same thing. Like these Ohtani ones, they're going to be worth a lot of money. Like, Ohtani merch it's crazy how much, like, his memorabilia, especially the first one. First ever Dodgers bobblehead. But that's some hardcore stuff, man. People waiting in line for like 6 hours to get a bobblehead. I'd rather I'll just buy it after.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth that, Gabe. And you're right, man. Some of these, like,
if you really want it, just pay for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like crazy, but like sometimes they'll do the nice towels they give away, and people will buy the really cheap tickets. You know, it's almost like it could be worth it, I guess, if you need some towels in that situation and you're a fan of the team. But just not to go in the game, just to buy the ticket and leave. You know.
The Dodgers have always been great with giveaways. Like they're like first class. They have good stuff. Like they have like jersey night and stuff. I've noticed the Jays actually have stepped it up. The Jays promos are very good as well. Like they're giving away authentic, not replica jerseys and hats, and they've got pretty good promotions going on right now as well. But as I stated, like only the first 10, 15,000 people or whatever, 20,000 people get these things. Edmonton's on another effing power play. It's their third one of the first period, man. Eventually, this is going to catch up to the Canucks. 1-0 right now. Vancouver have 6 shots on goal to their 5. All right, Drew, before we get you out of here, the PGA, I know you're a good golfer. You like to play golf. Did you bet the golf? What do you think about the championship going on?
I did not. And no, I am not a good golfer, Gabe. I get out there from time to time, and unfortunately, I'm one of those. I get to the third or fourth hole, I'll pop my first top, and then it's kind of over from there, my man. So if I was playing ball down on a real course, 18 holes, I would set the over-under. Realistically at like 110. That's a good number for me. I don't know where you stand, Gabe, but I'm not a good golfer.
I played at a PGA real place once the morning after the PGA Skins game. It was like Daly and Tiger Woods and stuff. It was in Montreal once, and our radio station had the rights and whatever. So they were like, all right, you can go, and no one's there and whatever. And the stands were still up. So it was pretty cool. And the stands saved me quite a bit, actually. But I'm not going to lie, I was like deliberately trying to hit them like by the end of it. I liked the sound. It was like ding, ding. I was like, bang. It was crazy. But I tapped out, I think, after 16 holes. I was out of golf balls. Like I was very frustrated. And I was at about 123, I think.
That's a hard course.
No, but it was hard. It was like the real deal. Like I was playing like the real. And I was teeing off from the back, too, which was annoying. I was betting against people. They spotted me like 15, 20 shots, and I still lost. So I was in a bad mood.
That's when you know you're screwed. When those guys are playing from the tips, you're like, I'm done. Like, can't we just play regular tees? Like, enough. Like, I'm old and crap now. Like, I used to be good when I was young. I suck at golf.
I wanted to tee off from the front tees. I was like, I'm going to tee off from the front tees.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a PGA course, guys. I'm not teeing off from the back. They were like, oh, where's their skirt? Where's their dress?
Yeah, here we go. Later, group.
You look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage, Sirius XM, channel 159 on the SportsGrid radio and television network. Shout out to all of our AM affiliates and network platforms, wherever you're tuning in this evening. 1-0 for the Edmonton Oilers right now. Under 5 minutes remaining in the first period of play. They scored that early goal, and things have slowed down, very similar to the last game. And in the NBA game, it's 104-63. It's a complete blowout for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But let's talk about the Preakness. The 149th running of the Preakness, and we're lucky to have Caitlin Free on the show. It was I guess it was fitting. Mystic Dan wins the race, but you were Mystic Caitlin before the race. An epic breakdown. And as I've told people, and in this day and age, too, a lot of people will give winners and a prop at a game, and they're sort of like news anchors. They'll tell you the headlines, but you actually ask them, so what really is going on in the Ukraine anyways? They'll be like, oh, I don't really, I don't have my notes, so I don't have the teleprompter. But the way you did that, unbelievable stuff. So great breakdown. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on this race. And let me ask you, too, I was fascinated by the fact, and me and Cam love horse racing. We were dumb enough to try to get into the business before. It didn't end well for us. But going into the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks ago, it wasn't a very hyped up Derby. There wasn't really like a star horse. People were talking, you know what I mean? Like the favorite wasn't a dominant horse. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like there was any sort of, there was a lot of like spectacle coming in. Baffert wasn't there. And then, boom, you get 16.7 million viewers and over $210 million bet on the race, Caitlin. So, smash success. And now there really feels like there's some excitement about this Preakness, doesn't there?
Oh, my gosh. Racing could not be in a better place right now. And, of course, Mystic Dan, Brian Hernandez Jr., and Kenny McPeak are such a good local story. They're very likable people. And they're very unique to kind of Churchill Downs, Louisville, and the Kentucky Derby. And to see them kind of get that Derby and the Oaks double, it was really, really cool. I was very excited for them. You know, obviously some big prices there with Mystic Dan. Torpedo Anna, the one the Oaks, was a little bit more obvious in my opinion. But yeah, there wasn't really any big story coming in other than it was the 150th Kentucky Derby, and it was this big type of anniversary. There were some international horses in there, the Japanese runners that ran very well. Fierceness was a significant favorite in the race, but I mean, he was a favorite that a lot of people didn't like. So they were kind of expecting him not to run a big race, which turned out to be the case. But it's been a while, probably since Justify, since we've seen a really dominant 3-year-old in these races.
So the favorite is a scratch, which kind of opens up the door for Mystic Dan in this race. And it seems like the theme here, and I'll throw it to you and jump in, Cam, but it seems to me, Caitlin, the theme is there's a lot of horses in this race that like to stalk. They don't want to run from the front. I guess Seize the Gray does, and maybe Imagination will here. So how is this race going to break down? And with such a short field here and only 8 horses in the race, completely different than the Derby. So these horses are going to get an opportunity to get a much cleaner ride this time.
Absolutely. Less horses in the race, less variable. The pace is going to be moderate, which kind of isn't the best for some horses that are going to be kind of out the back closers the way Mugatu, Just Steel, and Uncle Heavy kind of are. But I don't think it's going to be a slow pace. I think Imagination is going to be your horse in front. And I think Seize the Gray is going to press him all the way. And I think Mystic Dan is probably going to press, and Brian Hernandez is going to try to ride a similar ride the way he did in the Kentucky Derby, keeping him kind of forward, but also keeping him down on the inside. So I think those 3 are going to be pretty forwardly placed, and you can probably find Catching Freedom and Tuscan Gold kind of in the mid-pack, and the other ones that I mentioned kind of being those out-the-back closers. But it's going to be probably not more, I would say, than 5 to 7 lengths from top to bottom in that field.
I got to ask you, Caitlin, what about Tyler Gaff-Leone? And you remember that the stretch of that race. They were like literally, that was nuts. It was a hockey game. Those guys were killing each other. They talked to Gaff-Leone about it. It was kind of a real rough ride. The Japanese horse maybe could have actually won the race if not for the contact. What do you think about Gaff-Leone and Tuscan Gold, the 8 horse in this race? It's very interesting to me. And Catching Freedom, if that horse had a better trip, it could have done better than 4th as well.
Yeah, it was a very kind of roughly run Kentucky Derby the way it was in the stretch. But I mean, the Kentucky Derby is a race unlike any other. These are lightly raced horses. There's 20 of them. That's the most that we run in any field here in America. So I think the stewards kind of allow for a little bit of contact within reason. I've said, and a lot of my colleagues have as well, that we wish they kind of would at least hung the inquiry sign to say, hey, we see that there was an incident here, whether we will change it or not. Tyler was fined for the grab that he had on Forever Young. He has said that he kind of lost his balance. He wasn't able to use his whip, so he just kind of reached over really quick. He was fined $2,500. So that's all fine. It's water under the bridge at this point. But I think Tuscan Gold is very interesting in this race because this is a type of move that Chad Brown has done multiple times with success. He almost did it last year with the horse that ran second to National Treasure, who's Seven Trumpets. It's not Seven Trumpets. Seven Trumpets is a different horse. I'm trying to think of what this horse's name is off the top of my head. Kind of caught me at a funny moment, but he did it with early voting and he did it with cloud computing, sitting out the Preakness with a horse that could have potentially been eligible. Mike McCarthy did it with Ron Bauer. So I think this horse fits that criteria to a T.
Speaking of which, I want to ask you about Just Steel. And like you said, the Derby is just such a random, it's almost like the Daytona 500 of NASCAR. Yeah. Right? It's like anything can kind of happen. And it's not really a true test of your horse, in my opinion, or the horse's speed because of what can happen. So what about Just Steel, who I guess found himself, not used to being in the lead, didn't want to be out front that early, had a strange ride, ends up finishing 17th. Is there value on this horse now? Because the casual bettor will look and go, oh, this horse finished 17th at the Derby, I don't want any part of this, and sort of take out the fact that it wasn't a normal trip for this horse. What's your take on Justin Steele?
It's interesting because you can look at it from two completely different lenses. I talked to a couple of my colleagues yesterday specifically about Just Steel. He would not be my cup of tea because, whether he had a strange ride or a strange trip or not, which I do agree with you, 17th beaten by 34 lengths in the Kentucky Derby, that's a lot to come back off of 2 weeks. But I think you are going to be able to get the value on him because, like you said, there are some people that are of that opinion. He's now got Joel Rosario back aboard. He's been on board this horse. He's actually was on board for his only 2 wins.
Hold this thought, Caitlin. We'll get Caitlin's picks on the other side, and the Oilers are up 2-1 now.
Great.
Look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. And it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it. Cam Stewart in the house. Caitlin Free kicking it with us as well. So I've got 2 quick questions, and then we'll get your picks, Caitlin. Is it asking too much of Mystic Dan? So from Mystic Dan's perspective, it's a tall task with such a quick turnaround. How much does Mystic Dan have left in the tank? and how dangerous is Baffert's other horse that's not Scratch in Imagination?
So I don't think it's going to be too much for Mystic Dan. I actually kind of like the fact that he's cutting back slightly in distance from the Derby distance of 1.25 miles to 1.3 miles. It's not a big cutback. It's just a matter of 100 yards and change. But I think the type of race he's going to get in here, sitting just off the pace like he did in the Derby, there's also another chance that he could come across a track with some moisture in it like he did in the Derby. He's also got 12 less horses to worry about, and Brian doesn't have to work out as type of a trip. He just has to not be a tired horse. And from what I've seen him in the mornings coming off the track, he doesn't seem like that to me. So I would think that he's got a big chance in this race. He really proved himself in the Derby. And Kenny McPeak is a trainer that's not afraid to run his horses. Mystic Dan has ran back off of 3 weeks rest, 4 weeks rest. He's not done it off of 2 weeks rest. But the times that he did run off of a month or less, he ran very well.
And as far as Imagination is concerned, so Baffert is back, and we've seen him win this race many times. Was it 9 times?
I think he's won 9 times, yeah.
Yeah, 9 times, but we've seen him try to go wire to wire. So this is a track where sometimes trainers and jockeys will say, you know what? And the one race, when me and Cam owned a horse, we had a horse called Conflict Diamond. And the one race that we actually won, we went wire to wire. And so many times our drivers would tell us, oh, we're sitting back. He doesn't like this, doesn't like that. We're like, no. Just go. I'd rather die. For me personally, I'd rather die on my sword. And I get there's a pace to this, but is Imagination just going to try to go wire to wire?
I'd say that will be the plan for Frankie Dettori, but I think he's going to take too much heat. I don't think Mystic Dan or Seize the Gray will let him get away with those, soft early fractions. And he's had a couple of races, Imagination has, where he has gotten away with soft fractions, and he's not been able to seal the deal. The Santa Anita Derby last time out, he should have won that race. After the types of fractions he had, the type of an easy lead he had, really had things go his own way. Now he's in a classic race against a Kentucky Derby winner and some also very good horses that he's never faced before. Let's face it, Bob Baffert has some of the best 3-year-olds, whether it be Muth, Nysos, May Moon, a couple others. Imagination's not even in the same picture as them.
Caitlin, so who do you like?
Yeah,
we got about 3 minutes here.
Catching Freedom. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was wondering about
go ahead, Cam.
Catching Freedom. Yeah,
Okay,
that horse
Catching
finished
Freedom?
4th at the Derby. I kind of like that horse after Tuscan Gold.
He's interesting because I feel like if he moves forward off of his effort in the Derby, he's certainly a contender. But he's moving forward with each and every race, but it's so gradual that I'm not sure he's going to be quite good enough to turn the tables on Mystic Dan. That being said, I do think he has every opportunity to very much be a part of this race, finish in the Super like he did in the Derby. That's certainly not out of the realm of possibility and should really happen. And Brad Cox isn't one to run horses back like this quickly. And seeing this horse in the mornings, whether it's Brad that has the big part of the decision, whether it's the owners, this horse looks like he's ready to run again. And I thought he ran a good race in the Derby. So Catching Freedom certainly does belong in this race. But when it comes to my selections, Tuscan Gold, he's going to be my top selection here in this race. I said it, Chad Brown has done this move plenty of times before, bringing a horse that could have potentially qualified for the Derby, skipping it, going to the Preakness. He almost won the race last year. He's won it twice with a horse very similar to Tuscan Gold. So he's going to be my top selection. I think Mystic Dan is going to run really, really well, so I'm definitely going to be using him. And then a price I want to use underneath as a closer that certainly wants the distance. He likes a wet type of a track is Uncle Heavy.
Awesome stuff, Caitlin. I really appreciate you coming on with us. I'm really looking forward to this race. And
me too.
Part of me, just from the horse fan perspective, would like to see Mystic Dan win just to see the hype of a Triple Crown run at Saratoga as Belmont. And Cam, you were just there at an Islander game and under construction right now. It should take about 13 years. But they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do still, right? But the beautiful Saratoga, that's going to be special and changes the dynamic of the length of the race and everything. So, Caitlin, if you have time, let's do it again before the Belmont at Saratoga. Really appreciate you coming on with us.
Absolutely. And then Belmont at Saratoga, that's going to be electric, especially if there's a Triple Crown on the line. That would just be so cool.
Oh, it really will be. Special play, special track. Great stuff. Caitlin Free with us. More on the other side. This is Sports Rage. Bring it.
look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any